All right, big dog. Let me know when you're ready, man.
Man, I'm ready. Ready when you ready. We gonna chop it up, man. Like old times.
Like old times, man. We gotta do it. Gotta do it. All right, man. All right. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping. Get it popping. What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome, man, to Move Them Chains. It's your boy Reed, and I got my boy Big Game James over here chilling.
What up? What up?
We doing our thing. We understand the coronavirus and everything has been kind of messing up and got everybody weirded out, man. We can't hang out like we used to, man. Me, James, Jill, T, man. We used to have our show, man. Shout out to Jill, Jill's POV. We used to come together, man, on Sundays, man, and really, man, just really get into this NFL season. It used to be our favorite time of the year, man.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Corona has done this, man, came up with this idea. Me and Big Gang gonna break down each division for you guys as this football season comes around, and hopefully we get to see some football, man. Hopefully we get to see some football coming up here pretty soon in the next upcoming months. But we're gonna start this thing off, man. AFC North. My man, Big Game James, man. I gotta tell you, man, this guy here is a retired defensive lineman. A man played for Tampa Bay, Indianapolis Colts, under the great Tony Dungy.
Hmm.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
I know, man. It's been a blessing. My whole life, man. Been a blessing to be able to just say that I played for Tony Dungy, man. To know that man, and know how he is as a person, not just as a football mind and a coach, man. It's truly amazing.
Yeah. Dope guy, man. Dope guy, bro. For real. So, man, let's get started. Let's start a big game, man. First and foremost, you already know.
You got it on your chest, loud and proud. I see.
I'm going to represent Cincinnati Bengals. They came out and they did their thing. They finished 2-14 last season, but we all know that they was kind of going through their transition. New coach, Zach
Right.
Taylor, like that, new regime and whatnot. But these guys drafted the number one guy that everybody was talking about, and I'm so glad, man. I've been telling everybody it's a new day in who they land with Joe Burrow, baby. Joe Burrow. So I'm glad at that. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Burrow was the obvious pick that they had to make. We talked about it on Jill's show numerous times that the redhead revolver Andy Dalton looked like he wasn't himself anymore, and no real knock on him, but the offensive line play was bad. The running it was like running back by committee, but the Giovanni Bernard. I mean, it was tough, man, and it was just time for an overhaul in Cincinnati, and I like what they did in the draft, and I like what they did in free agency. It's like they tried to go out and fill needs to make their team more complete and to be able to compete,
Yeah,
sooner rather than later. Is
yeah,
my take on it.
definitely, and then seeing that with the new coach, who really just wanted to just change the whole attitude and change the whole culture of the team. It was about time that we have seen that, And me being an avid fan, I've been sitting here and seeing these guys playing just mediocre for so
Right.
long. No knock on Andy. Um, I love the guy to death, and you know that. I tend to defend the guy pretty much because he's been a fault of, injuries and bad coaching and all
Yeah.
sorts of. But when it comes down to it, I mean, when it's time for that overhaul, when it's time for a change, it's just time for a change. And I figured that he pretty much knew that when they knew that they had that number one pick and they knew that Joe Burrow was the talk of the town, I think that was the ringing of the bell right
Yeah. I mean, and you look at it. He's an Ohio kid, high school in Athens, Ohio. Signed initially with Ohio State before leaving to go to LSU. He shows that he has grit and work ethic about him because he wasn't getting the playing time there. He wasn't promised to really be the man at LSU. He had to go earn it. And
there.
a lot of people talk like he just came on his senior year, but that junior year, his first year, learning that offense at LSU, learning that terminology, uh, having to win over that locker room, he did a good job, and it set them up to be successful his last year there, and they went on to win the national championship. Now, granted, you talk about, everybody talk about Alabama's always loaded. LSU was loaded from top to bottom on both sides of the ball, but Joe Burrow took the keys to the car and he didn't fall in with traffic. He made himself the pace car. Everybody else had to follow him. And that's what you want out of your quarterback. And Andy Dalton was trying to be the leader he could be, but Reed, I'll tell you this: when the locker room is lost in NFL, once your locker room's not behind you no more, I don't give a damn what you do. And I just don't think the guys in Cincy were buying in to Andy Dalton being their leader no more. They were looking for something different. The coaching change was made. Now they were looking for the other personnel to come in and make changes. And you see they tried to upgrade the wide receiver position as well to go along with AJ Green. So they're going to keep this thing moving. And when you that low at the bottom, 2-14, hell, you can only go up.
Right. You're right. You're right. And another thing, I mean, and one more thing about Joe that I love, man, he has a swagger about him that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already a winner. I'm going to be a winner. So it doesn't even matter what you put in front of me. I'm going to win regardless. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Shout out to Cincy, man. Shout out to Cincy.
You have to have that at the quarterback position. That's the hardest position on the field to play. And when it comes down to the offense, at the end of the day, I don't care what they say. You may not have an offensive line. Your running game can suck. It always get blamed on your quarterback, right? At the end of the day, almost most people are going to blame things on the QB. But I think Burrow has the mindset. He's set up to be able to step in as a rookie, take the good with the bad, because there's going to be some bad that's going to go along with that good that they got in him. And he's going to learn from it. And I think that for so long, Cincinnati has gotten a bad rap at having horrible ownership, not trying to help players, not trying to help the team. It's just about money. And I don't necessarily buy into all of that. I mean, yeah, it is a business for a lot of these owners, but at the same time, what gives you that great business mind is competitive. You want to succeed. So I think the same thing goes into when you own a team. You want to succeed. You don't want to just be like, it's all cool. We suck, but sorry. So I think that Cincinnati's just been written off for so long and gotten a bad rap that it's like, okay, they got Burrow, it'll be okay. But that division, besides Baltimore, they can make the right moves and they can be, back in the mix of the AFC North again like they were a couple years ago.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Before we move on, man, my last thing on those guys, man, do we need to pay AJ and Joe Mix?
I mean, I say yeah, but then last year the injury prone season kind of knocked off his production, and I think some of it was him just not wanting to put himself out on the field in that situation because of how bad they were. What's your young boy's name that y'all got from University of Washington a couple years ago? That's beyond fast, the wide receiver.
Ross, man. Yeah, John.
So, I mean, you think about it. If Ross can turn into being what they think he can be, but man, drafting T. Higgins in the second round, y'all got a first round wide receiver in the second round. You know what I'm saying? T. Higgins had a first round grade, and he can play. He can play the slot and he can play the outside. So I mean, they building. They're trying to get those receivers in there. But to me, I think you lock Green up for the long term, and you ride this thing out with him if you building around your young quarterback.
No doubt, man. According to the rankings of Gennaro Felice and Dan Parr, guys from the NFL.com, man, they drafted their grade as an A and actually ranked them as number 5 all together all around.
Yeah. And then 2 of the young defensive guys that y'all picked up in the draft, Hakeem Davis Gaither from Appalachian State. He was a guy that a lot of big schools slept on, and if it wasn't for him being at Appalachian State, he probably would have been higher than the 4th round draft pick. He was one of those, wasn't a big high 5-star guy coming out of high school, went to a smaller college, and then, by the time he played those 4 years, he peaked and turned into something great. And then Logan Wilson from Wyoming, oh boy, he's like a Luke Kuechly kind of linebacker, man. He gets after it on the defensive side of the ball. And then What I like more, you know me, my position. One of the I got as the key additions for y'all was DJ Reader, the defensive tackle from the Houston Texans.
Say,
You know, Gino been playing by himself in the middle for a long time. Now you got two guys that can play all four downs. They can play first down run. They can rush and get after the quarterback. You leave Gino on the 3, put DJ in the 1 technique. If you got in that 4-man front with your ends and those linebackers you drafted that you go try to work to get on the field, the defense should get better. And then y'all got what was it, Mackenzie Alexander from Minnesota.
Kenzie Von Bell.
Yeah, and Von Bell, the same man. So I like the moves. Cincinnati tried to make moves to get better right now. They're not, they had to do what they had to do in the draft with the quarterback and other positions. But they also tried to upgrade this defense, knowing that the better your defense is, it's gonna make it easier on your young quarterback as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Most definitely. All right. All right. Move on to the next one, man. Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns.
Man, Cleveland is a circus still. I mean, they went about doing things wrong the first time before we even talk about their draft. A lot of people will sit up and tell you Freddie Kitchens never really should have gone to being the head coach because he still didn't have all the experience needed from his coordinator job. So he turned the reins over too fast to Baker Mayfield. And Baker didn't have nobody to tell him no and to calm him down, and he played like it. So, hopefully, who did they bring? Stefanski from Minnesota, the offensive coordinator from Minnesota. They say this guy's a great offensive mind. They said he's going to, put the thumb and the pressure down a little bit more and run a tighter ship than Kitchens ran, and they're going to need that. I mean, they did make some moves in the offseason that I like, and, Jedrick Willis and the offensive tackle they got from Bama, I was hoping that he fell to the Buccaneers at 14. I ain't gonna lie to you. This big boy can go. He can play and offensive line. And I know first round offensive line pick is never really sexy, but it's that foundation and that anchor. Because we talk about the Cowboys offensive line all the time. And what was it, 2 or 3 years in a row, they drafted offensive linemen in the first round. And I think Cleveland is trying to build from the inside out as far as that foundation to getting the O-line together now.
For real. No doubt. They had what was it, Jedrick Wills?
Yep, Jedrick Wills out of Alabama.
Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU.
Another guy that some people had down as a first round grade that fell to them in the second round. That's going to help their secondary out a lot.
Delpit. And Jordan Elliott, too, that defensive tackle from Mizzou. Yeah,
Jordan Elliott can get after get out of it. He, not just a run stopper. He can actually get after the quarterback as well too. So that's going to help him out as well.
Cool, man. Most definitely. My thing with Cleveland, I don't even know if Baker is even still living up to the hype that he is. I don't even know if he's even still worth the hype. Actually, and he was actually a guy that I was actually kind of going behind to kind of rejuvenate that Cleveland. Right. I mean, I don't want to see a franchise just be that sorry for that long. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you on that. You know what? I like Baker Mayfield to a point to where he's still young and it's got to not be about him. I think he has what it takes when it comes to having the confidence. But it's that fine line you ride between being confident and being cocky. And Baker Mayfield comes across as cocky to a lot of people, and it's the way he puts himself out there. Like, you don't get to the stadium with a full beard, then a goatee, then a full chew. Really? This what you got going on? He just sends the wrong message out and he rubs people the wrong way. But I still think, looking back to some of the glimpses he had that rookie year, he can make the plays. I just think the keys were given to him too fast, and now you got to reel him back in. And that's where the downfall came in with Kitchens as the coach. But now you go out and you get him weapons. You get Austin Hooper from Atlanta. And then you go and get Jack Conklin, offensive tackle from the Tennessee Titans, who was regarded as one of the best O-linemen in the league last year, Pro Bowl player, to kind of help your line out. So you got that to help groom Jedrick Wills into being, the NFL pro that he needs to be. You got a great leader in that offensive line room. Then Hooper, that's a steal. That's a steal out there. You already had, you got Landry. You got Odell. And then
They
you add Hooper to that too. I mean,
they
and
got
right
weapons.
and, and they running backs. And they running backs. So I mean,
Weapons though, but I'm saying they got weapons, but can't. I
but
mean,
I think the hype on paper last year and them not succeeding knocked them back down to where you can get the right person in there now. And this is a team that I think that you're gonna have to take serious when you play more so than what they thought last year.
can't sleep on them.
Can't.
You can't sleep on them because of the weapons that they do have. You can't sleep on them.
And then Reed, one of the picks that I like a lot that I want to see how this pans out is the kid they got in the fourth round, Harrison Bryant, the tight end from Florida Atlantic. You got to hear this fourth round pick that you got. He was the Mackey Award winner, which goes to the best tight end in college football. So somehow, some way, and the boy big, he like 6'4", 6'5". He can get down the seam. You know, he can run past the linebacker. So you got that and Hooper together. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how he pans out. Um, I still like Miles Garrett. It's crazy. People say he's crazy because he hit your boy Rudolph in the head with the helmet. But Garrett has gotten better, and he took a lot of heat. The first couple of years in the league, and he was lazy, took plays off. But he's turning out to be a pretty good defensive lineman. So you got pieces in place. It's gonna be interesting to see how those Browns can play, man.
It will be very interesting. It will be. It will be. Definitely, man. Their draft grade was an A-, ranked number 9 overall. Number 9 overall. So, I mean, shit, still in the top 10, man. Still in the top 10. I'm
Right.
a see, man. I think I heard, and I'm hearing all that talk about OBJ. Um, but then, what's his name came out and actually said that OBJ is considered to still be a core part of that team.
Right.
So
Well, he said he never came out and spoke up about wanting to be traded and out of Cleveland. So it's like, but the thing is with Odell, you've done so much in the past. It's always like, what Odell? What do I believe? Because he set himself up to be that guy. Now you like, man, you said you didn't say it, but did you really say it? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, whatever it was though, he wasn't utilized the way he should have been utilized. So I'm up been thinking like, damn, was he hurt?
no, he
Because
wasn't.
we've seen Odell Beckham make plays early on when he was in New York, thinking like this is about to be the next best receiver to ever, you know, touch the grass in the NFL. And then you go to Cleveland and he's lost. Like,
I'm starting. I mean, you really hadn't seen Odell be Odell in the last about 2, maybe
yeah,
3 years.
2, 3, yeah, easy. Because he had the year where he was hurt in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
got traded away, and it just looked like yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm gonna put a lot of that on just the whole system itself last year. And Cleveland just in general didn't do. But you got Chubb, you got what Hunt in the backfield. I mean, damn, they look. I mean, I see why people went crazy and got on their job last year. Because if you look at the talent they got, you like, damn, these
On
boys
paper,
can play.
on paper, so scary. So
Yeah,
scary.
yeah,
6 they finished last year, man. So we'll see what that's all about, man.
right. Only time will tell if they got
Yeah,
better than that.
we'll see. Moving on, we got Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh coming up next. Steelers, they finished 8-8 last year. Um, they didn't even have a first round pick.
No, they didn't.
Started off in the second round. They picked Chase Claypool, wide receiver. I don't know the name. I guess you want to say they still looking for somebody to fulfill Antonio Brown's shoes.
Yeah. I don't know gonna be. A lot of people have said that he's gonna be like how Martavius Bryant was for them. They say
Mm.
that he's that kind of guy. I just know. Have you seen his highlights at all, Reed?
Yeah,
Claypool? I didn't know the boy was that big and that fast.
me neither. Me
And to
neither.
be a Canadian-born player, start playing football late at an American academy they have there, end up getting to Notre Dame. And some people say if he would have came out after his junior year, excuse me, that he may have been a first-round pick. His senior year, I mean, the year he did come back, his last year at Notre Dame, he had a lot of drops and a couple of big games. But when he does catch the ball, he has that separating, he can separate with that speed he has. it was like 50-50 his grade. You know, half of the 32 teams had him with a first round grade. The other half had him with a second round grade. The Steelers feel like they got a steal, no pun intended, with him being available with that second round pick. But um, Pittsburgh usually does a pretty good job of always pulling in what they need. And it might, they remind me of the Patriots a little bit to where, they go out and they get guys, and you're like, who the hell is this? And next thing you know, they pan out and they play well for them. And then, they put the franchise tag on Bud Dupree, where he's going to be back again.
Then,
And,
then why not get a quarterback?
Now, this is my thing. And I thought that they would get a quarterback in free agency. I really did. I thought free agency was the way they need to go with a quarterback. And, at first, I thought it was going to be my boy Jameis. I thought Jameis would have been a good pick for them only because – go ahead.
I said Jameis, but as of late, I've been saying, like, Cam needs –
Well, they're not going to – yes, but they're not going to bring Cam in because it's going to crush Roethlisberger's confidence and his ego. They're not going to do that to him. They love it. They not going to do it to him. Because if Cam comes in there, Cam would take Roethlisberger's job. And they don't want to do that because they don't want to have to justify it. They want to let big men ride out. They did need to get a quarterback. So for me, I thought that Jameis, before he went to the Saints, or Andy Dalton, I thought Dalton would have been a good pickup for them, but he ended up going to Dallas. Didn't see that happening at all. And I can't wait till we talk about that division. But you're right. They need a quarterback. Cam not going to be that guy for them, no. They should they? They need a quarterback. There's nobody else out there. But in my eyes, Cam is a starter. You can't bring Cam in and be like, hey, Cam, you're going to be my backup. I need you to compete for a job. You know what I'm saying? Y'all act like this man won league MVP 4 years ago, and before he got hurt and couldn't finish the season, was on pace to be better than he was his MVP year.
Pretty much.
And Carolina never gave him no receivers.
Pretty much.
But, I mean, Pittsburgh, if they do it, it would be a damn steal and a great pickup. But I think Cam was going to hold out and go to where he think he could be a starter.
Man, we'll talk about Cam. We'll talk about plays that I've been thinking of Cam. But I feel him right now. I mean, he needs to find like the perfect situation for him. One thing I will about Pittsburgh, man, I really love Mike Tomlin. I really like what he does and what he stands for, what he represents over there at the team and for that culture. I'm always in awe of him because he always seems to make do of what he has. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I never would have thought with a guy like Mason Rudolph back there in the backfield, playing the quarterback position for them guys last year that they would still finish 8-8.
Right.
Everything was going on, even with the Minka Fitzpatrick trade and whatnot, so.
Yeah, they still. I still think Mike and them should have took a shot on Colin Kaepernick over Mason Rudolph, but that's just me being biased on that one. But Tomlin plays the cards in the hand that he's dealt. He doesn't ever make excuses, and that's what I love about him. And brothers usually don't get a whole lot of chance like that at the head coaching position to ride things out. But Mike's held strong. He hadn't deviated from who he is as a person. He still treats everybody the same. He commands respect from his players, and I think he does a good job of his staff carrying on his same beliefs, man. And they didn't have like the sexiest draft in the world, but then you gonna get Stephon Wisniewski from the from the Kansas City Chiefs, offensive lineman, to bring in that leadership. Won a Super Bowl last year. You go get Eric Ebron, who rejuvenated his career with the Colts at the tight end position, and then you go and get they bring in T.J. Watt's little brother Derek Watt. They got him from the Chargers at a fullback position. So they still went out and addressed some pretty cool needs through free agency, even though they didn't have like the best draft or all the greatest draft picks in the world too.
I see it still. I don't like y'all. But
Hey,
shout
that's
out to
still that's still Kirk. They just solid, dog. I mean, they the Steelers go get 5 dudes from the steel mill and they'll line up and whip your ass. Man, where they come from? And they play for Tomlin, man. So yeah, you always got you're right. Because when Roethlisberger went down, I was thinking, yeah, they done, and they still finished 8-8 now, and still had a chance late in the year.
so that's what I'm saying, man. NFL.com, man, them guys, man, they actually rated their graph as a C.
Yeah, I mean because it wasn't like I said. You got Chase Claypool, um, Alex Highsmith, the defensive end out of Charlotte in the third round. Then you get 2 4th-round picks. You get Anthony McFarland Jr. out of Maryland, who was a solid college running back, and he's not related to Booger McFarland. That is not Booger's son. Everybody always asks me that. No, that's not Booger's son. He just named after his daddy. His daddy named Anthony too. All right, and then Kevin Dotson, guard out of Louisiana, and then Antonio Brooks, a safety out of Maryland. I mean, it's just these guys are solid guys. You hope Claypool's gonna make the team. Highsmith is gonna make the team. McFarland, they need. Conlon needs help at the running back position.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be okay there. Antonio Brooks, 6th-round pick is always gonna be hard to see if they even really gonna get on the field. And they signed a lot of they did a lot of 1-year free agent deals with some of the guys that they kept that was on their team last year. So it's gonna help them out. But yeah, the draft wise, they didn't do what's going to just make you excited. Like you see a Cincinnati draft and go like, "Ooh, I want to see this." And Pittsburgh, you just like, time to make the right pieces will be kept, and they're gonna be what they're gonna be.
They'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. No doubt, man. Going up to the last one. Here we go, man. Baltimore Ravens, the AFC North champions last year. And these guys were 14-2 last year. You had Lamar Jackson, who was the MVP. I'm going to tell you, man, scary, 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 scary.
I really, you know what's worse? What's funny though? Like they were scary last year, and they had a couple losses, a couple people that they lost. But shit, I think through the draft they got better. A lot of people like, man, why you go get J.K. Dobbins? You got Mark Ingram. So Ingram getting older, and he got hurt. And did y'all see Dobbins run the ball at Ohio State? And they're thinking he might be another Zeke Elliott type, but just a little bit stronger. That's saying a lot. So you add that to that talented run game, and Patrick Queen was one of the best players on LSU's defense that you never even heard about.
Exactly.
So, I mean, boy.
Man, I think I said Baltimore, man, if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it, man.
Yeah. And then, hey, man, they got 2 kids from the DFW area. They got Justin Mutabuki, the defensive lineman from Texas A&M. He's from McKinney North High School. And then they got Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver out of Texas. He's a blazer, dog. I mean, that boy, he was a track star, too. Could have went to college on track. He was a blazer. So, I like their draft, man. I like what they did.
Definitely, man. Definitely. How do teams need to I mean, I know you got film. I mean, even take it to remember how your boy Mahomes, when he first had that first year, man, it was just a breakout year. You look at how Lamar Jackson had such a breakout year last year.
Right.
Now you got the film on this guy. How do you prepare for guys like this, for Michael Vick type guys?
And it's funny you said that because I was like back when I was playing, early on, it was the Randall Cunninghams that we had to try to get ready for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I still think Randall Cunningham is one of the best quarterbacks to play the game that don't get the respect or the recognition that he deserves. Then later in my career, that's when Michael Vick was a young buck. And the thing is, I still think it's scary because I think Lamar Jackson passes better than Michael Vick did.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he gets a lot of credit for being able to throw the ball. And the thing is, you can go in, you can plan, you can try to do it, but you don't have anybody on your scout team that can mimic what that man is going to do in the game. Tennessee kind of set the blueprint in the playoffs last year with low in the box, stop the run game, keeping them on edges, trying to, they kind of had the blueprint, but some of that was play calling with how Baltimore wasn't able to answer in that
Yeah,
playoff game and they ended up losing
yeah,
and the
yeah.
turnovers. So, everybody, I can promise you this: every defensive coordinator in the league right now is looking at that game, what Tennessee did to them, and they're gonna try to mimic it. Everything that happened in that playoff game, every defensive coordinator in the NFL is gonna try to mimic it.
Yeah, they did. They did pretty much shut them down, though, man. I mean, not
Yeah,
even.
and they put the ends out wide. They forced it back up the middle. They had the linebackers coming downhill. Their defensive line really dominated that game, to where their linebackers ran free all game long, and that's where the game is won. If you keep the blockers off the linebackers and they can run free, and your running back your quarterback that's normally killing you with read option is forced to run up the middle. Shit, ain't gonna happen, dog. It ain't gonna go down. It ain't gonna go down. So
Is that
they did that thing.
is that it? Is that something that helped y'all have such the success that y'all had down there?
Man, I tell everybody it was crazy because we had a defense that was so fast that, we really didn't even have to blitz a whole lot. A lot of people are like, man, what kind of blitz games did y'all run? We didn't blitz a whole lot. We had them in there in case we had to have, you got to have an element of surprise. We ran like what we call zone dogs, to where we would exchange gaps, drop guys back in coverage, and then bring somebody back up as well. But, okay, you go double team Warren Sapp. Now, when I first got there, we didn't have Simeon Rice. Now you add a Simeon Rice to that defense. So you double in the three. You got Simeon on the edge. What you going to do with him? Oh, damn, not to mention you got a Derek Brooks right outside of that and a John Lynch that can walk down into the box. I mean, you pick who you going to try to guard and double. You only got 5 linemen. If you keep a fullback in, today's game don't really have that blocking fullback that we did back in the day.
Yeah.
You keep a fullback in to try to protect. You try to use your running back to protect. That's one less man in the route. With the DBs we got, we cover. And we can get to the quarterback without bringing extra pressure. It's like, shit, take your pick. You're not gonna block Steve White. You ain't gonna block, Marcus Jones. Hell, you gonna double team Sam James Canada gonna make a play. As Booger McFarland gonna make a play. It's we had that Shelton Quarles was the other outside linebacker, was the same linebacker. Obviously, Derek Brooks that was fast. After Hardy Nickerson left, my boy Jamie Duncan was smart as hell and was sharp and good, and he knew where the ball was going before the huddle broke. He see a formation like, hey, big dog, they coming backside a gap. I'm like, what? Shit, backside a gap, bloop bloop tackle. And so, the smarts of your player is one thing. The player instinct, but just that athleticism, man. That was just I couldn't believe, that group that we had on defense on that side of the ball, to where if we would have just a little bit of offense to match it, I would have some jewelry on my hand right now. I know we would have won a ship.
Real talk. That's real talk.
They added a couple of components after I left, after Dungy left, and you see they go win a championship. And it was just a couple of small things that we was missing. But the defense never changed. The defense got better.
Mm. Almost, man. But I wish you would have had it though, man.
You and me both, man. My friends and my kids, everybody talk about that shit. They talk about it all the time. Like, dang, Dad, the year you left, they won the Super Bowl. The next year, I'm like, yeah, man. Don't talk about it. It still made my stomach hurt thinking about it. So it's it's one of them things, man. But like, I was before we got on and we was talking, and we give these drafts grades, and I understand why the media does that. They the off season. You gotta have something to talk about. You gotta have something to do. You gotta try to evaluate if the talent fits the team's needs. So I think that's really where the grade comes from. But at the same time, I need people to realize that we can't, don't slap none of these young kids in the face or degrade them or put them down by throwing a letter on where they got picked in the NFL draft, because all they want to do is live a dream and play ball. That's all they want to do. Now, whether that kid was the right fit for that team, maybe, maybe not. But that's not on that kid. That's on that general manager and that coach that picked him, where they picked him.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna do it to the best of their ability. And we just gotta, hope the best for those young people when they out there on the field. Because the thing is, the league is a business, man. Fans are diehard fans, but at the end of the day, that guy, that kid, that player gonna be there. And he may be there for 4 or 5 years. He may be there one. Then he might go somewhere else and be great because the system is better for him. And you don't know until you get people, on the field and let them do their thing. It's easy for me to see you do something in college, say, "Oh, I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna make him do this in my system," and it doesn't work. And that's why I give Baltimore Ravens a lot of credit too. Is they went out and got Lamar Jackson, and they didn't try to make Lamar Jackson fit their offense. They made their offense fit Lamar Jackson, and that's why he had the success he had because he didn't have to change. And what he did what he did well, and that's what so many of these offense coordinators and coaches do. The old school ones is like, "Oh nope, you got to do it my way or the highway. Your way is gonna get my ass beat." That's what's gonna happen. If I do it your way, I'm gonna get beat. So I got to do it the way that I know how to do it, and you help correct it, and then we're gonna have success. We're gonna be good.
For real. NFL, man, they rated them number one, A plus. A plus, rated them number one. So
I
shout out.
mean, dude, this is a hell of a draft, and they got stronger positions that they were already good in. So they'll get it, they'll get it figured out what they did wrong. I think in the playoffs last year, man, and they're gonna ride. And, you got Ozzie Newsome leaves, and the new general manager steps in. And he does the same thing that Ozzie did. They always put together a good draft, man. They always put together good talent. They draft needs, and it may not be like the guy that everybody knows and talks about on ESPN, but it's going to be a guy that they need that can step in and help. Like I said, the Justin Matabuki guy out of Texas A&M, he can get after on the defensive line. Bigger, more of a run stuffer. But, they play that three-man front. They got that nose. They got their ends playing inside. Their linebackers coming out, blitzing a lot, plugging gaps. So here it is. You got a plug-and-play guy that can get after it. They re-signed, God, I can't remember the kid's name, and I didn't write it down in my notes, but they re-signed the kid that they picked up from the Colts last year that can play that five technique or that 4-eye technique on that inside edge of that tackle, and he can get after it. You know what I mean? And help protect those linebackers. That's how they make their money off their linebackers making plays. So Baltimore and like I said, Duvernay, and then you had your boy Hollywood that you drafted last year, and then you got Duvernay in the third round that could come in and help. You get offensive line help. Man, I think that Baltimore will be right there in the mix again, and I think they'll fare better in the playoffs. This new playoff system where only one team gonna get the bye now. Because I think I think they rested everybody in week 17 last year. Then they had the bye, and then they came back just off and rusty. Like they had too much rest. And some people are like, nah, it's not too much rest. Your body needed. Nah, because football is a game of momentum as well. And as you get things going, churning, and working, you really don't want to take that much time off because then you're gonna regress just a little bit. And I think Baltimore regressed last year because of that rest.
Yeah, yeah, man. Who wins this division? Actually, give me your division rank. Who wins? 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right now, you got to go with Baltimore as your number one. I think Cleveland is going to be your number two. Pittsburgh 3, and Cincinnati. Just because they're young, they'll be better than the 2-14 team. But I still think just because of Burrow being young, not having a full true offseason in OTAs, going to be a little bit behind just from the chemistry factor. So that's why I think Cincinnati comes in fourth in that division. But I think Cleveland and Pittsburgh are going to fight for 2 and 3. But the Baltimore Ravens, with the team they had, Lamar Jackson come back, everything, they stay healthy with this draft they had as well. I think they still the team to beat in the division.
I agree with you, though, man. I agree with you 100%, man. Even though I want Cincinnati to be like number 2.
I mean, I would love to see them right there at number 2, but Hey, the NFC for years, everybody's always talking about how tough the NFC North is. Man, this shit ain't changed. It's getting better. Cause I'm not gonna lie, I never thought Cincinnati was gonna be that bad last year. It's like they got pushed off a cliff and they had no branch or nothing to grab on, so they just kept falling and they hit the bottom last year. But I think it's gonna be more competitive. But like I said, just because of the youth on the team that they're gonna have to rely on, early, that they gonna finish fourth. Well, I could be wrong. It could be Cleveland over overachieving again, on paper and fall down. But there's no if Cleveland don't finish second in this division this year with the talent they have, they need to fire everybody. They need to fire everybody.
So they need to. They need.
You did what people in, you need to fire them again. Just get out. So they should be good. I think the young general manager, man, the brother did a good job of pulling in talent in areas that they need, key guys to try to help the pieces that he already had. They got to use Odell. Let's pray and hope that he's healthy, but they got to get back to using the Odell Beckham that we knew in the first 2 years in New York. That's the Odell we need to see.
That's the one we need.
Landry is going to be a good complimentary piece. You know what I mean? Either because both of those guys could be number one receivers. And then you add Austin Hooper in the tight end with the running backs they have, and if you get incorporate, man, come on. They should. You know what I'm saying? They should. Will they? Yeah, but they should.
Right.
For sure.
They should. See how it goes, man. That's
Right.
what, man. That's what that is, man. Big game, man. I appreciate you.
Man, thanks for having me on, dog. I really appreciate it, man. I miss being able to get in the studio and chop it up, dog.
Too. Again, man, shout out to everybody. GLT, my man, Big Game, man. MCXP. Y'all follow my man, Big Game. Where can they follow you at, bro?
Man, you can follow my podcast on it's Big Game Sports Buzz on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker. You can follow me here on Instagram at Big Game 97, and we got my Big Game Sports Buzz page on Facebook and Twitter. Is at Big Game 97. So I'm always trying to chop it up sports, man. I love football. Try to talk about a little bit of everything. This pandemic has got everything kind of crazy right now. Hard to get people on and connect and get shows together with folks. But everybody, most part, stay safe, keep the faith, believe, and just know that we're gonna bring you whatever sports there is, and we're gonna find something to talk about until we get back to normal again. That's for sure.
That's for sure. Most definitely, man. We'll be back with y'all, man, next Wednesday, I believe. So, yeah, we're gonna be back next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, we're gonna get it again.
We're gonna hit AFC South. So y'all get ready, all your fans and everybody out there. Appreciate y'all, man. This is Move Them Chains. A Reed, Big Game. I appreciate you, bro. Tell the family I said, hey, man. Y'all take care.
All right, brother.
Everybody be easy, man. I'll let y'all. Peace.
All right. Peace.